Greetings from UCMC. Now we have community spokespersons program. We are speaking about communities' activities in the framework of decentralization reform, and this is UCMC and DOBRE joint project. This is the task for each city and settlement for each of us. Here you should be active participant of the community and help create efficient self-governance. And the instrument is the reform of self-government and decentralization. This helps to resolve local issues, including energy efficiency issues. How it works in practice. We speak today with Andriy Portnyi, head of Sosnytska consolidated community. Greetings, Andriy. Good afternoon. So we are Sosnytski. We are Sosnytski consolidated community, and I'm Andriy Portnyi. Tell us about your community. We're a young community. We got created at the end of 2017. We have been working for 1.5 years. We are 90 kilometers from Chernigov to the northern west of Chernigov. We are the former center of Sosnytska region. The population of our region is 10,800 people, including we have 15 settlements, 6 village councils that joined Sosnytska and Sosnytska council, and Sosnytska is the motherland of cinematographer Dovzhenka, and we have the mansion in our town of Dovzhenka. Not everyone knows about us, but everyone knows about Dovzhenka. Why did you get united? I'm the participant of the Revolution of Dignity, and I feel that local government at the grassroots level can provide an incentive for Ukraine to develop as time shows. If reforms do not go from top, or if the reform is not implemented from the top, maybe they should be moved from the grassroots level. For me, this is first opportunity to elect the heads, because in Ukraine there is such a system that is active when the heads of the local level, I mean state administration heads, they had all the responsibilities at the grassroots level, and local governance, it had only formal signs, and they adopted decisions of the central body of executive power at the local level. So this is a big victory that people got opportunity to have direct elections to elect the heads of the communities in this case. So you're a paradoxic person. You had elections on the 29th of October 2017, and before this you participated in local elections in 2015. So you survived elections twice during this time. As I know, many heads do not want to speak about unification because they know that they should undergo elections and they are afraid of losing their positions. Were you afraid to lose your position? But the position is not the aim. The aim is different. The position is only an instrument due to which you may change or not change. You may get salary and wait for next elections or something else. I had another aim. I am a resident of the city. I lived there all my life, and the aim was, when I first participated in elections in 2015, was to bring changes to community. I felt that for a long time we didn't have a lot of changes, and the territory, the city where I lived, didn't develop, and gradually it just died before my eyes. That's why I had a goal, not only me. In 2015, we went as a team. Out of 26 deputies together, we had 16 who entered. These were self-nominees, and I believe that we should introduce changes concerning local elections to legislation, because we cannot be hostages of political parties, their leaders, or their programs. At the local level, I believe to the cities of oblast importance, to oblast centers, or maybe with 300,000 population, all the cities that are less than that, people know for whom they are voting for. They directly know their deputies, and now a lot of mayors, my colleagues whom I know, they are political hostages of parties, and this provides a minus to the development of territories, because city head, he is the servant of his community. He cannot be the servant of political party. This is wrong. This is the wrong way. That's why I hope that when the law is adopted on local self-governance, and we have been waiting for this for a long time, this issue will be resolved. As I know, the Ministry of Regional Development, together with the associations of local government and experts, they work on the draft law on local elections, and I hope that you should join this work, and your colleagues, to propose a topic of departization of this topic, because this creates obstacles in your work. You said that you decided to get united in order to be able to resolve issues in your territory, and recently the community was created in 2017, so you worked only for 1.5 years, and this is a small period of time. It is difficult to do something in this short period, but were you able to implement some changes in order to improve quality of life in this territory? We started with such right way. We started with energy efficiency, with energy saving. We have limited resources, and all communities have limited resources all around the world. First, we should save resources and use it efficiently. That's why we started with energy saving. We joined the World Initiative of the Agreement of the Mayors that envisages the reduction of emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and to increase our own resources due to this. So we became the members of Energy Efficiency Association, and this is the platform where we are able to hear about the best ways how to introduce energy efficiency measures. And also important element of energy saving, we introduced in our community right at once, even before unification. In 2016, we introduced the system of energy monitoring and energy management system. And now I can tell about first successes, and I would like to give small example. When Sosnytska school joined our community, they consumed 25 cubic meters. So this is a small swimming pool. 25 tons were spent, no one knows where. But the system of monitoring helped us. And then only 2 or 3 cubic meters were spent. So now we do not lose resources due to the system, and we stopped losing potable water, and this problem is really important for the world. So now the metering devices are established, and we got energy saving 10 or 15% less consumption, and we were able to replace some boilers, to transfer from gas to solid fuel. This year we should have done it at the first stage, but because we had limitations and resources, we only now started to warm our buildings, and this year we want funds from the Fund of Regional Development, and we will warm Sosnytska kindergarten this year. We will have a thermal renovation of this building. We would like to do more, but the resources are always limited. That's why we are trying to go step by step. In absolute figures, if we are speaking about money, what money was saved in the budget of your community? Honestly, we didn't calculate it. I believe that on average for energy, for provision of energy, for heating, lighting, I believe about 2.5 million we were able to save in about 3 years. So when we are speaking about energy management, energy audit, do you have a special position for this? Who deals with it? Yes, there is a position of energy manager. This is a person. And also we have special software in order to deal with energy balance, to carry out monitoring, to provide graphs, and also to see where we have losses during what part of the day, the information about peak load. So this person monitors the situation and prepares draft decisions and orders of the head, and the head praises someone or do not praise someone, or impose sanctions on some officials, because in each institution there is a responsible person who should provide the information and to see whether the energy is well used. Maybe many people do not like this energy manager. Not the heads, but the personnel who is responsible for this. But also the heads. Maybe there should be like this. There should always be someone who will supervise our people. What about the population? How can you stimulate population to energy saving? I believe that the best recipe for energy saving is high tariffs. Maybe it sounds wrong, but we shouldn't play with populism. We should say that energy is what is produced, and it is costly. And if the state says that the tariffs should be lowered, then we should compensate it from other sources. The state spends resources in order to compensate for tariffs. Let's speak about the subsidy. We spend billions of hryvnias for subsidies, but for energy saving, we have less than 1 billion. For example, one credit is one of the mechanisms. So also, I believe that Fund of Energy Efficiency will be really active, and maybe there will be reduction in consumption of energy. And warm credits, no one carries out monitoring and verification of those credits that are being provided. Maybe someone bought a refrigerator and maybe they didn't replace the windows, so vice versa. So we have several programs of stimulation of several energy saving in our community. First, the compensation of the body of the credit, not percentage. We compensate the body of the credit. 10% is compensated for households, and also 30% of the body of the credit. The sum may be really big this year. I hope that the first condominium will be credited up to 1 million hryvnias. The people want to get this credit for energy saving, and 70% is compensated by the state, and 30% will be compensated by the community. So we go step by step, and this program was in operation for 2 years, and 90% of people are living in private houses, and we have only 42 multi-storied buildings, and some of them have this condominium. And we do not want to play with populism from the start. When we came to work, we've said to people that multi-storied buildings, this is your property. You should be responsible for these houses as those people who live in private small houses. They do not go to city council. They deal it with ourselves. Yes, the situation was unpleasant, but I saw that the process started. People started to understand that this is their property and they should take care of their property. Yes, we help. We are ready to help, but you should take responsibility for your house. And I showed the example. I live in a multi-storied building, and the condominium was created this year, and we will move in this direction to get the credit and to improve the condition in our building. And recently, you traveled to the conference concerning reform in Ukraine that was held in Canada. You traveled to attend the conference and to attend several provinces in Canada and communities there. We know that in Canada they have success in energy efficiency, and they generate energy from renewable sources in many cases. Yes, we attended the conference. This is a powerful event that was held, one of the most representative events. 50 countries of the world were presented at the level of embassies, at the top level, the president, the members of the cabinet of ministers, and I heard many signs of support to Ukraine and support of reforms of Ukraine abroad. Unfortunately, people do not feel the effect of reforms because more time is needed. Maybe some reforms were delayed, but we should understand that reform needs proper financial resources. Unfortunately, we are lacking such resources. But at that conference, they provided the signs of the support to reform, and many reforms will continue. Maybe there will be some corrections, but the president and his team is going to continue reforms about energy saving in Toronto, for example. I cannot compare this city with any city of Ukraine. This is different reality. But if we are speaking about small communities, because decentralization reform also happened in Canada at the beginning of 90s and the mid-90s, and we were in Chatham district, and Chatham town and the territory that it unites, 2,500 square kilometers, 105,000 population, and they pay a lot of attention to renewable energy. We saw wind generators everywhere, solar batteries, solar stations, a lot of collectors to create energy, also biogas stations, And everything we saw, these were private investments. And the city provides some land plots and help the business. So first, the land should be provided, and for us, this is an opportunity that we should use, because selling of land is actively discussed now in society, and I believe that we should sell it, but the issue remains open. This is the issue for discussion, and we should take decisions. And the city, if it sees the future benefits, especially concerning taxes, working places, so the city buys out the land plot and provides it to investors to establish capacities there. And we'll have also industrial parks and separate mode of taxation. And here we have some bureaucracy, and we create a plan for developing the city for 1.5 years. So this is long, the procedures are long, and there are a lot of problems concerning the elements of the master plan. We have historic city, and we also first elaborated the historical plan and the topography plan. Then we adopted the strategic ecological assessment, environmental assessment. Then the limits of the city were approved. Then this is 5-year cycle. For example, the head is elected, then the head is elaborating the plan, and the investor is waiting for the land plot and the plan of the territories. If this country wants to develop, we should reduce these procedures to make them minimally necessary, and then we will have development. So these changes should be done at the grassroots level, and you do a lot for this in order to be heard in the Verkhovna Rada and also in the government, depending on changes. Something is regulated by the resolutions of the government, but also you should force people's deputies to work for the benefit of communities. If we return to the issue of Canada, what experience did you get in order to implement this in your territory? Concerning the city where we were, for me, this was really interesting. A recreational region where people have rest. They go there to have relaxation. This is near Eyre Lake. And there are highly developed recreational service, tourism. And I believe that we have a strategic task to create in our territory a tourism cluster. Partly connected with Dovzhenka, we have neighboring communities that are also interested in the development of tourism in their territory. And also about Sosnytska, my region, and Dovzhenka. In Canada, we saw enterprise that reduced the old cars, and the same owner built retro hotel, retro cafe, retro restaurant, and this is a thing that attracts people to this territory. They hold festivals, and retro cars go from all over the country in this place, and in this way local business is able to work. And I have an interesting idea. Maybe due to you I will voice this idea, and someone from the audience will hear this and will be interested. We have Dovzhenka, and we try to do everything. We buy out a land plot, we privatize it in order to build or maybe refurnish one of our objects of communal property to transform it in mini retro hotel. I invented the name cinema because we are connected with cinema, and we should have the style of old movies, and the tourists that visit the place, and when he is in this hotel, to see the story of the cinematography, maybe some rooms connected with some famous Soviet films that were made, some Cossack themes or Batman theme, in order, and also to have a restaurant. We have 28,000 tourists who come to visit the mansion of Dovzhenka. Challenge number one, then challenge number two. First, to force them to have dinner here, and also to stay for a night. So these are two challenges. Without supportive business, we cannot cope with this. And we need people who are ready to invest funds into our community. Otherwise, we won't be able to develop further. We are thinking about eco houses in order to provide it as temporary housing for those who come to us. So you are searching for investors to build cinema hotel and to make Sosnytska a community developed as a tourism destination. And I understand that you have many houses that were abandoned. Maybe you should start with green tourism. Have you planned this, or you haven't planned it? Of course, we deal with it constantly, and we create interesting locations, hold interesting events for people who come. I cannot find people, businessmen, who would like to help us on this. Communal property for this is not so good, and private houses not so good. I am searching for businessmen. It's not so difficult to buy old house in Sosnytska. This is about $3,000–4,000. This is not big money. But we have a lot of such houses, and we may refurbish them to create eco houses to attract visitors. If we fail to do it in a short period of time, half year, for the next year, we will plan to deal with communal enterprises that will deal with it. And we have opportunities for the growth in our community, and also we have a task. And because of bureaucratic obstacles, we cannot do it. We want to have a sanatorium in our as our property, the property of community. So it is not vacant. I hope that about 500 or 600 of children will come to have rest here. They live like in camps. The conditions are not really good. This sanatorium was opened in 1900. So we want to get the order of the Cabinet of Ministers to get it into communal property, but the Cabinet of Ministers, they have other things that they believe are more important than our issue. So we believe that this should be communal enterprise that provides rehabilitation and relaxation, and we can have about 3,000 children per season, and we may also continue this for winter period. We have buildings with the central heating, so Siverska Sich, we put this information on the site about this facility. So this topic of development of your community, of the Zhenka territory, and I know that this year you had a festival. It was partly financed by the Ministry of Culture, 250,000 for mention of Dovzhenka and the festival. But next year, where from are you going to get this money? We should provide sustainability, and I hope that this year was really of large scale, and I see that some businessmen, they see that people come to us, and this is the opportunity to get additional income. That's why I believe that next year we will involve local business and maybe some entrepreneurs that would like to help us, and also local budget. No matter what we say, it's not really big, but we should invest in development. This is the right way to go. Because there are always plenty of problems, daily problems, and they won't be solved in a short period. We should find points of growth where our community has some benefits, and we should continue that. So we will continue the topic of economic development of the region, but I would like to speak about the details about your community. In Sosnytska, Anna Kern lived, and Ukrainian scientist Yuri Vinogradsky, and also Sosnytska is having streets that are all up parallel, and maybe Sosnytska lacks advertisement. Yes, I believe so, but I believe that we cannot launch a mass advertisement of the product such as Sosnytska or the land of Dovzhenka. Without infrastructure, this is the road to nowhere. Some people will come once, but they will get disillusioned. People should come to proper hotel to stay there, to have conditions, civilized conditions. There should be cafe or a restaurant to have breakfast, to have several options, how to spend time, in what conditions, where. And on the slides, you see big work. We are trying to restore green areas. We are like small New York. This is the old village. There was mentioning about our territory in 1234, and we had major works in 1803, so all streets are parallel. You may see all the streets and how they're going. So we should have proper infrastructure in order that people spend their money, because tourism is an industry that should bring income to community and its people. And in this way, it should contribute to development. So we do not do this mass promotion. Yes, we have a site, we invite people. And also our Kapilush festival was attended by 6 oblasts from Kharkivshina, Kirovogradshina. Sosnytska and Chernigivshina was open for them by us. And I believe first we should provide infrastructure. We should reinforce infrastructure and then continue. So I see that you have proper lighting, new asphalt for roads. So despite a small budget, you are able to revive local infrastructure. What were the main achievements? So you've said about asphalt. I believe that my residents won't compliment me on this because we do not have a lot of investment to asphalt roads. It's difficult to build roads, but we spent some resources, we attracted resources into lighting for streets, and we have 100% LED energy-saving lamps. And we had 3 projects to restore lighting where we didn't have lighting before. We restored. We had 2 substations to restore lighting for streets, and all the streets have have lamps, and we provided lighting to all settlements. Only 3 settlements left, but these are really small, about 50 people each. I do not know whether it is really needed. Maybe they have more important issues to deal with, for example, roads. But in all settlements and all village councils, we partly restored lighting, and this year in 4 settlements we will complete this lighting for streets, and they will have comfortable conditions. About big infrastructure, last year we attracted funds for modernization and improvement of conditions for educational institutions and 3 village schools, and it is important for me that people feel that what we get for infrastructure we spend for village territories, because people should feel what community means, that community appeared and the people saw visual improvement of conditions. Before unification, they believed that all the money will stay in the center, but we do it differently. And we have 1.7 million hryvnias of subsidy, and we will spend it for lighting of the streets and the villages. And once again, I would like to say that the infrastructure of our small settlements, as well as in the cities, the infrastructure is obsolete. All the infrastructure starting roads, trottoirs, communications, buildings, all the infrastructure was built starting 1950s till 80s. And with the time it needs modernization or reconstruction, but the resources are lacking. Global capital resources are lacking. There is no opportunity for global investment to improve infrastructure because the budget is really weak. You cannot then give back credits, and the communal vehicles and equipment, we may say for sure that this is we are proud of it. In 1.5 years we improved the conditions of communal enterprise. We bought 2 tractors and waste truck and other equipment. So communal vehicles maybe are not so important for people, but I know that there are also waste bins. Maybe you've introduced separate selection village. They didn't have it before. Even in the city, we didn't have the centralized bringing out of waste. Even in the city where 8,000 people live, we didn't have it. And 98% of people, they joined this service, they pay for the service, so we do not have illegal dumps, because before each street ended in dump, but now people feel the benefit of the service the truck comes, and we didn't provide container scheme. This is only for multi-storied buildings, and we have people know about time, so we take everything all the ways to before dinner, and people really like this. And also one more town also was provided with this service, and also we have agreement with the other settlements, because not all the region got united. So unfortunately we didn't won the contest, but we will buy 2 more cars in order 2 trucks in order to provide centralized waste removal from the cities and the settlements. Also, we provided separate selection. We collect batteries separately, and we provide them for utilization. Also, we have cooperation, and this is the victory of ours, together with the adjacent communities, Korobskaya, Karyukivska community. We created a joint project to buy equipment for repair of roads. And our project won at the regional level, and we got best scores from the regional, from the fund of the regional development. And we will get this vehicle that will provide opportunity to improve quality of our roads. So a lot has been done in the community, really a lot. In all time of independence, you didn't have such opportunities to introduce such instruments, and these instruments are provided by the reform for your community. And you've mentioned adjacent communities. Are they powerful competitors of your community? And we spoke with many heads of the communities in this hall, and they, as I understood, this is not about struggle for financial resources, not only about that, but also human capital, intellect, health, productivity of labor. So Sosnytska community, so you have 10,000 and these are 15 villages. And for example, Gapishevka village, Gapishka, 3 people live, Kosteryev 9 people, and there are villages that you have 50 people or 100. How to return people in villages? And unfortunately, you are right. The situation is complex, and in the north and in Polisia, this is a specific region. I should say about it, I do not hear the lobby about the development of Polissky region. It is really specific. We have small number of population around Ukraine. They have 70 people per square kilometer. In Chernigivshina, 32 people, and sometimes there are 2 people for square kilometer, so this is like a desert. And I saw the order of the president, and it speaks about the development of Zakarpattia. But the state should help all the regions to create a single environment, and I believe that there should be a special law to about the budget resources to help Polisia, Zhytomyrskyna, Rivnenщina. And in this respect, we should work more. About us, we live in a competitive world, and each has his own competitive advantages, and we believe that this is recreation. We have such a region, Sosnytska community. We do not have industrial enterprises that are hazardous. We have only light industry. to the enterprises that create women's clothes. But there is a lot of stagnation. Some regions have good production potential. Karyukivka, they have good potential in the Menakorab. So each community is specific. We should compete. They earn money there. And we are ready to give them the opportunity to spend this money in our territory. About the return of people to villages, this is a very difficult problem. In times of independence, the state doesn't make any steps in order that people feel to remain in villages. This is about infrastructure, working places, and we pay a lot of attention to these issues. We search for specialists to develop this sector. Agricultural cooperation and processing of industrial produce. So we should carry out processing of agricultural produce, and Ukraine creates raw materials, and we export it and then bring it back to Ukraine, these products that were made. But this is the way to nowhere. We should process in our territory. Unfortunately, I do not see the wish of big agri-holdings to process. They just plant something, and then the next day they go away. The same during harvest, and they just pay rent. But we should deal with local producers of products, and they should feel that this is their land, and they are interested to process their products, agricultural products, but there should be proper crediting for them. So I speak with these people, and I see that they have obsolete equipment, but they do not have capital. The land is only rented, and there should be proper crediting for small producers. But there are also other people, they have several cows. We should create conditions in order that they be able to process their produce. We have successful examples in Ternopolshina, in the west of Ukraine. There are berry cooperatives, milk cooperatives, and honey cooperatives. And we have different mentality. North of Ukraine, they have different mentality. Central, Eastern Ukraine, because for a long time we have been living in the Soviet Union, and people believe that state should think instead of them, and they have such mentality, and they provide this mentality to their children. But we should revive entrepreneurship in order that people want to be entrepreneurs, to create added value, to produce some handmade products. And we are searching for such people because there should be people who are really inspired entrepreneurs, and we are searching for such people, and maybe our audience have the wish to deal with this, and please come to us, and we will create conditions, we will provide opportunities to develop your business. So we have to end our program, but I would like to speak about one more topic. When you look at the map, you see that there are a lot of forests around your territory, and I know that not everything is okay with the use of these forests. Tell us more about this problem. Maybe you have the recipes how to resolve this problem. Yes, part of the territory, and we're not competitive in this. And why Police is not competitive? Because big territory of Police is covered by forests and swamps. I will speak about my oblast. Southern community, they have 90% of territory as land plots, as arable land, and they get taxes from this. And part of our territory is covered by forests. And this is the reason why Police region is depressive or industrially lagging behind, because taxation is different. And now we can have the rent that is provided to us due to changes in legislation. These changes were introduced in 2019. But the proceeds are not what we planned them to be. In the territory of Oblast, we have communal enterprises, Chernigil Obl Agrolis. This enterprise is joint enterprise of all the communities of Chernigivska Oblast. At the beginning of 1990s, they provided their communal enterprises to the, for the management. And they are managed, and they provided activities in our territory, and they had 180 people of personnel. They stopped to process the forest. They just take this forest away without any processing, and we have examples in Chernigov, Shirov, Kryukivka, Korab. They didn't provide this communal enterprises, and they are active and efficient, and they have good personnel, and they manage all these activities themselves. And for 2 years we were fighting, and these enterprises were not provided on our property. This is impossible, but we proposed the mechanism, but there is no political will at the level of Oblast Council in order to provide them. We want to return them to the property of the regional councils that existed before. Legally, it is not difficult, but now we do not have will for this. Maybe there is some lobbying of some personal interests of some people, but that would provide the opportunity to develop our territory, to increase proceeds, and to improve the quality of services for people. So I see that you won't surrender and will be able to succeed in resolving these problems. Today we were speaking with Andriy Portnyi. He is the head of Sosnytska consolidated community. You may find more information on the site of the community on decentralization site of the DOBRE program. Thank you.